English film in Telugu is usually like a family film, like grandparents and kids and all of them go together on a festival. I said, this film everyone watch independently, like on your own screens, your own time. Like husband and wife also don't watch together.
I always start with an Excel sheet, like when it comes to all the gaalis that we have to put it on, and we come up with the most innovative ones, and then we see how to plug it in.
This is an Excel sheet of gaalis.
Yeah. So I create
muhavras, not just gaalis.
Yeah, like phrases and but especially gaalis.
I think my husband might be interested in this. You know, you were pan-India before we knew what pan-India meant, right?
Yeah, so I said in the last interview, I said I was the guy with the pan. I was the guy walking around. Say, here you go, you can fry stuff on it.
Hey everyone. Hello. Good evening and thank you all for being here for this very special session with the team of Rana Naidu. And I'm going to begin with the man himself, Rana Naidu, and of which is, of course, Rana Daggubati, please.
Oh.
Please have a seat.
I like that you have tea and I have nothing, water.
Listen, you
Hi.
said you're too wired up for more coffee.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true.
है ना?
I had a lot of coffee, and promotions are for South Indian actors is not the best skill set that we have, and we get really tired very fast.
Okay, so folks, he's been talking all day. We need to energize him and keep this going.
Yeah. So there you go. Now it's fun. All right, now it's fun.
Now it's
That's good. Yeah, thank you.
So I want to start with this character that you play. Okay, Rana Naidu is a problem solver. He finds solutions for the rich and the famous. And as I was watching, we've been only assigned like 2 episodes. And
Okay.
as I was watching, I was thinking, Rana, of course you're not solving the awful problems that Rana Naidu is, but you are also a problem solver. In fact, I read an interview of yours where you said that, you know, your day is like you wake up, you find a problem, and then you find the solution to it, and you go where that solution takes you. So was one of the reasons for saying yes because inherently you are also a problem solver?
I don't know if that was the inherent reason. Why I said yes is, first I wanted to do a family drama in some ways, but extremely different. And I thought in film you always have to subscribe to certain cliche. And in OTTs, you can do whatever you want. I'm saying the characters can go however long, develop relations that you often can't show on film, right? In a 2.5 hour, 3 hour structure. And that was really what was fascinating. And from the time and also part truth to why the adaptation and not an original is, I was reading a bunch of originals and I didn't know if I had the acumen to say yes to a story in a long form or not. So that, along with Karan and all of the others that were attached to it, just said, okay, if you start, this is the best one to start with.
Okay, and when you were doing this role, did you ever have a moment of, yaar, ye to mere jaisa hai? Kyunki you are a problem solver, Rana. You are the man people can lean on. I know that.
Thank you. But this is the illegal version of me, I guess.
Of course. It's a very morally...
It's a very illegal, morally on a grey, thin line.
Yeah.
So that kind of Rana he is. So it's just odd, no? It's that Rana and it's another Rana, so it's the darker Rana.
Tell me about, you talk about long form storytelling. One of the things I always wonder about, and this is your first time, right? Is it hard to stay in love with the character over so many hours? Do you ever get tired of the person you're playing? Because in film it is only 2.5 at best.
Here it's very, very different. The relation you have with the character in film. See, most of my life I've only played extreme characters. I'm either extremely good or extremely bad or solving something extremely sad. That's been the world I'm in, right? But all of those emotions only last for a certain amount of time because it's very specific the way you look, the way you are. But here it's very close to life in some ways. It's definitely out of my comfort zone. I come from a joint family that we're very, very happy and we keep laughing, we work together, we do everything together. But here I had to work with my family like the other way around. And it's emotions that I don't understand. It's people that I've heard of or issues like that I heard of around but never would have been a part of it. And complexities is something I've never played to this extreme like I've done in this show.
You talked about working with family,
Yeah.
right? And of course, this is with your uncle,
Yes,
the
yes.
great Venkatesh.
Yes, yes.
And the relationship, he's playing your father in the series.
Yes.
But your relationship is very, very brutal and it's very rough. In fact, in the first episode, and this is not a spoiler, but when you meet, like you've got a cricket bat with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
you look like you could just whack him any minute. When you're working with an uncle who you, I'm assuming, love and have shared many, many decades, now how does it work? How do you do scenes of such extreme kind of roughness with family? And what are the rules of engagement? Like, did you and Venki sit down on day one of shoot and say, this is how we'll keep professional apart from personal?
No, that's not how we got to it, right? Like, first, I think the decision of doing this, the fact that we haven't worked together for so many years, we've obviously listened to a lot of stories that came our way. So my dad came down, he's like, hey, this is a show of all bad people, Ra. All bad guys are there in this show. He said, they don't become good only. I was waiting for a while. I said, no, it's not about good people, right? But Venki walked in and he said, hey, who's playing that John Mertz role? I want to play it. I was like, really? And yeah, that's it. And it happened so fast when Karan came, and all this happened on Zoom, right? So we weren't even like meeting and stuff. So Karan saw him once on camera and he said, okay, this is it. He's in character. This is the guy. And he came with no baggage of Venki's image or any of those things and was able to create a new Venki after like 30 years, right? I'm saying you don't get to see that reinvention so often.
And he didn't have any problems with the language?
Like if it was Telugu, I don't know if he would have been bold enough to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was definite that he wanted to reinvent himself in a way which, because he's so familiar in that industry with filmmakers, with writers, people keep getting things that are similar all the time. And this was his chance to really break out. So in Hindi, it was all fine, whether there's language that is not something that I'd use on an everyday world.
Okay, there's a lot of
not that
cussing in
anybody
this show.
should use.
There's a lot of cussing.
Yeah, lots of cussing. We were fine because it was Hindi. We don't speak it so often, and we're fine saying it. The minute
It's okay to do it in Hindi.
Yeah, it's okay to do it. The minute we start dubbing it in Telugu, we were like, oh no, what did we do, right? And we were just watching a whole different film, like a show. That was pretty shocking, yeah.
Do you
It's
think...
too close to home when it's in Telugu.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rana, what do
And
you...
see, I've never heard Venki speak in Hindi, so it's still like a new character. All that's fine. But Telugu just shook us a little bit.
What was it like to see him swear that much in Telugu?
No, so he doesn't swear as much as he does in the Hindi.
Did they tone it down?
The Telugu people in this, yeah. So, like, you know how you convert basic Hindi lines to Telugu, right? It just sounds a little bit off. Me saying it is still okay. Venki saying it is just impossible.
That's what
like,
I'm saying.
no way that is going to happen. So we're like, okay, these are guys from Hyderabad, so they speak Hindi. Let's just leave them in Hindi. So a lot of them are left in Hindi the way it is. But yeah, some were, like making sure the audience of Venki is not hurt too much. But there's one disclaimer that I kept giving everybody who saw the trailer and kept saying, wow, Venki did this, Venki, wow, this and all that. I said, listen guys, like a Venkatesh film in Telugu is usually like a family film, like grandparents and kids and all of them go together on a festival. I said, this film, everyone watch independently. Like on your own screens, your own time, like husband and wife also don't watch together. It's a different kind of family, right? So that's what I have to say, and then everything will be okay.
Okay, you guys will discover how different is different. when the show drops.
Yeah.
But it's a very different kind of
It is.
family. Rana, of course, the show is a remake of Ray Donovan, which is a very successful American series. And the role you play was played by Liev Schreiber, who is, he's just a fantastic actor. He's a graduate of the Yale School of Drama. In like 2007, the New York Times said that he was the best theater actor of his generation.
Wow.
So he's like a really those are big shoes to fill. Did you?
So I didn't know all of that, so it didn't matter to me.
Oh, I'm just
If I knew that, then I would have been like, oh shit, I would have picked it.
So did you take notes from his performance, or did you prefer to just do it your way?
So after watching it the first time, the project came to me, I actually didn't watch it again at all. Because Karan's adaptation was so different. And so the original show, they moved from Boston to LA, so here it's South Indian, it's to Bombay, and that. There's leaves of the plot that's similar. But the cultural context, when you move a family, the way family is in India to families abroad, the relationship become very, very different. And see, this film it's a family drama that's in between crime, that's in between politics, that's in between celebrity world in some ways. In all of this, the thin thread that really connects is Bombay's flavor is very, very different from what you see, whether it's from South Bombay to the slums of Bombay. There is an extreme diverse nature of how this plays out, right? So it's an extremely different show from the original in that sense. You saw the first 2 episodes. They don't start like the original. They don't move like the original. But what it has is it fits much more in our setting than it did in the West. And that's something that Karan also said when he's in one of his earlier interviews that he spoke. So yeah, that's what it was. So it was it's a darker show than the original. That's for sure.
Rana, one of the things I really admire about you is the breadth of your taste.
It's just variety.
It's the variety. No, you came into the movies because you like spectacle, right?
Yeah.
You're the ultimate Star Wars fan.
Yes.
You are, oh my God, you are Bahubali. Okay? All right. Come on, guys. That's as big as it gets, right? And yet you have, from the beginning, not just now, from the beginning, you put your muscle, you put your money behind very sort of eclectic projects. And one of my favorites is Care of Kancharapalam. That's a film you guys have to see if you haven't seen it. But also last year, you presented Gargi, which is just one of the most gut-wrenching and terrific films I've seen. How do you balance between the bigness of your passion for cinema and the spectacle that you love and these smaller things that you continue to support?
See, first, my tastes are varied. I like many things. And if you grew up in a movie entertainment house like I did, there's all kinds of cinema you'll start liking, right? And the first thing I actually did in the movie industry was produce a film called Belly Full of Dreams. It's a Telugu film that won a national award in 2005. Now the film won not one but 2 national awards, but we couldn't get a theatrical release because it was just so alternative and art house, and art house didn't have a voice at all. Now I was like, okay, now all of this nepotism, I said I got all of this and I couldn't get a film out, right? And
Kya fayda?
Yeah. And my granddad used to make fun at that point. He's like, hey, you're the award guy, not the reward guy. So he used to that was where it started, right? And then I said, okay, let me just figure out how to make really big movies. And I thought visual effects was the way to go forward. And I was trying to build a visual effects company. And I was also trying to produce films at that point. So in this round of 4-5 years trying to produce films and make visual effects, I realized you needed to convince a lot more people to do it. So my career has been found and built on things that weren't happening in the industry. So I said, okay, now...
You're problem solving.
Yeah, I guess that was... Yeah, my career became my problem solver. So I just felt like, here you go, this is my world, movies is my world, and I should be able to do anything at any point that's needed, and nothing should stop me from making a film. So I guess that's where all my interest comes from, and you just got to do what you like.
Yeah. And you were pan-India before we knew what pan-India meant. Right.
Yeah. So I said in the last interview, I said I was the guy with the pan. I was the guy walking around saying, "Here you go, you can fry stuff on it."
Because 2010 you launched with
Yes.
Leader,
Yes.
Telugu film. 2011 you're already doing a Hindi film,
Yes.
Damarodam. Now that it's sort of really the conversation of the day, and there's so much cross-pollination, which is fantastic, and which also you were instrumental in bringing Bahubali to Karan Johar. How do you see the next sort of 2 years panning out? Do you think that the industries will continue to learn from each other? There's also sort of this conversation about maybe it's become like this catch-all phrase and everybody now wants to do it, so there's actually less local flavor. Is there a downside to it?
Is there a downside? See, one is, I always believed, like even before I became an actor, because there were films that were made back then that cut across regions, cut across languages. If you watched a film called Roja, it's a Tamil film that worked across, and way before any moment of this was. Kamal Hassan was a star across the place. Telugu and Tamil filmmakers made films in Hindi. These are all normal back in the day, right? And it was normal in the early day of cinema. Then post that, like everyone was building, I think the states were building themselves culturally. India was really young and building itself. And we had these extreme local industries and local stars that created different economies, right? I'm saying there's no country in the world that has as many industries as ours. Like I think now, see, there was enough time that we spent locally. We know a lot more now about each other's cinema, thanks to whether it's dubbing that happened on satellite, whether it's films like Bahubali and KGF that landed from different places, whether it's the OTTs where anybody can get to watch cinema from everywhere. I think everything will start thriving, but in a slightly different form than it did. Now you see about 2 or 3 films that are big spectacle nature each year. You will see about 10 or 15 of them coming from each of these industries, and that will become what is one big Indian entertainment industry in some ways. But each language will have its local flavor, local audiences that will be consistently there for the movies. So I think it's just differentiating where your cinema is going to be played rather than what film is you're going to make.
And Rana, in literally a week and a half, we might actually have a Telugu song win Best Original Song.
Of course, man. Of course, yeah, there you go.
I mean, how fabulous is that?
It's amazing. See, like what I really love about everything that's happening is it's a Telugu song that's called Natu Natu, which is not even trying to be global in any ways or international. It's as local as Telugu local can get, and that's what's got us there, right? I think it's just amazing, you know, where we are, what the time that we are in this world. And Rajamouli, like he's broken the country walls of cinema. Now he's just trying to break international barriers. So I think it's just amazing to see what's happening every single day. That's the only thing that I look forward to on Instagram. And I said, what did Charan speak? What did Rajamouli speak? What did Keeravani speak? So that's our, and those people are family to me in every ways. So yeah, it's just a great time, and captain all the way, Rajamouli.
Okay, before I bring up the rest of the team, I have to ask you this, Rana. Now, the Telugu film industry is largely run by 3 or 4 very big, very powerful families, including yours, right?
That's where's this question going?
So, I want to know, how is it that you guys don't get the flack that Bollywood does for nepotism?
See, I'll tell you something. Like, I moved to Hyderabad about 25 years ago, I think, from Chennai, when a bunch of Telugu people who just moved to another place, which just had rocks, and everyone was like trying to build houses, but making movies in those houses, and that's what the entertainment industry was. No one wanted to be part of this. Like, I'll tell you, like the early days, how the early people who came in, right? They used to be like, "Sir, my son's failed 10th grade. He's not going to do anything. Why don't you make him an assistant director in your movies?" So that was our world. Like, that was the people who wanted to come. It was looked down upon by the elite or by the educated world. and what was there? I'm saying it was families that held it, saying this is what we do, this is what we'll do generation after generation and create that ecosystem. Like like I'm saying, building a studio is the stupidest thing financially anybody does. But Hyderabad has 6 of them. Like that's the love we have for art and storytelling. And see, ultimately, what is it? Yeah, see, I'm saying Disney was a family company that became a global corporation. So I think all of these four or five companies that are there now, that are families, stroke professional organizations, are just waiting to take that turn. So it's better than fighting global wars, no? So imagine a bunch of families still fighting the global giants and still being more and more successful. See, like there's a simple metrics, right? That like last time we spoke about it. I said why resources are too much in Bombay. There you don't have those resources. The resources are built. They're its own money. It's loaned money. You put like home and land in bank and made movies, which is why the guts to make big stuff comes. And that's what it is.
Which is so exciting.
Which is yeah, extremely exciting.
Yeah, which is absolutely wonderful. And should we get on the rest of
Yes,
your
please,
team
yes.
then? Come on, guys. Let's bring up the directors. Karan Anshuman, Suparn Verma. Leading lady Surveen is coming.
Hi everyone.
Good to see you again.
So, Karan and Suparn, at the trailer launch of Rana Naidu, Monica Shergill, the head of Netflix India, said that this is a masala entertainer.
Yeah.
I want you guys to tell us, what does that mean? When you're directing a masala entertainer, what are the things you do? What are the things you don't do?
Super, you take this.
I'll take this. So, masala entertainer is when a father and son confront each other. The father picks up a mombatti and says, "Mombatti le, dal." But honestly, I mean, this is in the show, so I guess you can keep it. But
It is in the show, guys.
In the
it
trailer.
is in the trailer. It's in the trailer. We are preparing the audiences for the. So here's the thing, Anupama. We come from a school where we have grown up on films where one of my personal favorite films is Shakti by Ramesh Sippy. One of the greatest father-son confrontations, right? And here, Karan and the writing team heightened that emotion to a level where you haven't seen something like this before. So when Masala Entertainment comes in, had it been maybe a slightly different show, bent of show, it might have been more silent with backs to each other, which they do at one point of time. But again, after enough dialogue bazi, there are lines, there are words that are spoken, they are spoken in a way where they are heightened than normal behavior, where I might just say, "I hate you." Instead of saying, "I hate you so much that I'm going to put rat poison down your mouth and drink it up after you puke it." But that's just a version of it. And
Suparn's getting very graphic, guys.
Karan, do you want to continue?
yeah, before I go in the Tarantino zone, yeah, you might as well. So,
No, it's. I don't know what a masala entertainer is. I don't know. And when I was reviewing films back then, I think there was a certain amount of disdain. I think all of us used to have for masala entertainers. But as a filmmaker, the idea is to entertain. Now it turned out to be masala. It's it just happened to be. And I think my objective is just to. I mean, is to turn it up a little bit, amp things and I guess it just turned out, and it has a lot to do with these guys, right? Like,
Just that we're there,
they are the actual masala, but you take these lines and you give it to, I don't know, so I don't want to name people, but they won't be as fun, I suppose.
Yeah. Speaking of lines and language, he just gave you a taste of what the show is
what
like.
lies ahead in this
Right?
next half hour? Yeah.
Now tell me, when you have material which is very adult, it's very dark, okay? Where do you draw the line? As storytellers, where do you say कि इतनी माँ बहन की गाली ठीक है, पर इसके बाद थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो जाएगा?
Listen, everything is super calibrated. Like, so when I'm with my dialogue writer, for example, every time I get into a new series, and this time it was, the language was Dakini, which is again something we haven't seen in the digital space at all. This exploration of this lect of Urdu that we have in the south, and and I always start with an Excel sheet. Like, when it comes to all the gaalis that we have to put it on, and we come up with the most innovative ones, and then we see
No,
how to
wait,
plug
this
it
is
in.
an Excel sheet of gaalis.
Yeah. So I
Of
create
muhavras, not just gaalis.
yeah, like phrases and but
phrases.
especially gaalis.
I think my husband might be interested in this.
And I've been doing this from like day one, like with my other series also. And it's really like one word give and take, calibrated. Like we are very, very particular about I am. And so is Vaibhav. And so it's not like drawing the line. It's about really what is just right for that scene. And yeah, in the end, there might be like, 537 phrases that seems like a lot, but I feel there's a natural flow to it. And also in the post and the edit, I think you can sense it, right? When it's just gratuitous, like all the swearing, and you just let that go. As long as it's important to the scene and there's something that's coming out of it where there's an emotion being expressed. Like a lot of times we even express it in Telugu because these guys the characters come from Hyderabad, and in the height of intensity, they break into Telugu, and that's beautiful.
I'll tell you the trick is which actor is given what lines to say. There are times when you know certain actors, knowing the genre, will actually add some of their own. So when I'm writing lines, I actually reduce them because the minute you give some actors who tend to improvise a bit, they'll add 4 more of their own. So I actually scale back because I know their style. For example, say with Manoj Bajpayee and Shahrukh scenes in Family Man, you would not because you know कि गाली आएगी. So I might put a muhavra कि तेरी में छतरी डालूंगा मोर भर के घूमेगा, which they will not change. But I will not put the MCs and DCs because that is in a flow. So the less I put, it will come naturally. If I add, there will be 4 more. Similarly here.
What was this muhavra again?
तेरी में छतरी डालूंगा तो मोर बन के घूमेगा. See, you can retain, right? It's a phrase. It flows.
Did you ever on
I'm
set?
just happy Venki is not around for promotion. I'm just so happy.
We might as well tell you about acclimatizing our actors with us.
How do you do that?
And the show. So we had a reading with Venki sir. Rana joined about 2 hours later. So I have realized one thing, which is a very simple trick. You need to crack the ice with actors, right? You need to create an equation. Rana and I have never met, Venki sir and I have never met. Karan already had a meeting with them. And me being the debauched guy that I am, people are anyway scared कि पता नहीं क्या मुंह खोलेगा. But luckily, Karan, thank you so much. So we went there, and while talking, I told Venki sir that, Venki sir, just to open up and stuff, I do this exercise with my actors, which again I learned from Manoj, which is some actors don't speak Hindi properly or fluently, right? But when you say gaalis, it comes from the epiglottis. Benchot comes from here, right? For example. So we would have actors abuse on set. So I was just narrating this incident to Venki sir, and everybody is stunned. Ki, what is Suparn saying? Because Venki sir is like, I revere him as well, but what are you doing? Venki sir got up. He literally gets up, turns around, does this to his hair. I'm shitting bricks, wondering, shit, Suparn, kya kar diya? Karan is looking at me. And then he turns, and he's in character. And in Chase Telugu, I'm sure he abuses with full conviction. And then he smiles and says, when I came back from America, my Telugu was not as clean. This is what I would do before every take and tell the actress, sorry, mommy. So I was like, ha! And that broke the ice. So yeah.
Rana, did you ever say on set to these two कि यार ये मैं नहीं बोल सकता?
No.
Never.
No. No. Once we chose to play this character, that's the reason we chose to play these things, right? And once you're in it, you got to be in it. And yeah, but me saying it, I never had a problem. I had a problem with Venki saying it. I don't know what. So I was like, no, you can't do this. But no, I was fine.
I think had the show been Telugu,
I just stuck to script. I didn't make up my own.
You didn't add the four more
No, I
guys.
said, here you go. This is what it is. I'm just going to do this.
I think had the show been Telugu, you might have stopped and said, wait.
No, we did
Not
a
really,
few
but,
Telugu things that I had to turn to
actually,
him.
Yeah, we did a
and
few Telugu.
Get his opinion in there.
Point of view, yeah.
One of the sort of attractions of the show is, of course, seeing Rana and Venki together, right? How do you as storytellers sort of mine that relationship and that family kind of, just the buzz from it, from just the nostalgia, the kind of, the kind of lived in affection that people have for them as actors individually, but of course together. How do you mind that without compromising on the storytelling?
I would say a lot of that actually came in the writing, because also there's another layer to this, because the character is also called Rana, and it's really quite meta in a lot of places. There are lots of Easter eggs in terms of, oh my goodness, if it was actually, the fact that they're related and they're saying these things to each other, and if you just start thinking along those lines, it becomes fascinating. So at a lot of places in the script, for sure, we have put in like things that, guys, if you imagine it's real life, sort of out of character, nephew and uncle saying that to each other, it just elevates the material by itself, because it is what it is.
And I think they came together on screen on the 18th day of shoot. By the time they were fully in character, and they rehearsed their scenes on phone.
Yeah,
what are you
so
gonna
we
do?
never met. So
They never met and discussed
we
it.
used to just talk on the phone and say, just read this out, and that's about it. And then we used to meet on sets.
So that created a very interesting dynamic where they knew that there was going to be a surprise waiting for them. So the game was there. So before this action, was called out, they would be there, cordial, nice, and you could see the love. He loves Venki sir. Venki sir dotes on him. But when the cameras came, they transformed. And I think somewhere it really helped that Venkatesh sir comes from a school where when it comes to his job, then you're not my son, you're not my family, you're not my nephew. And he goes for the jugular. And it was yin and yang, they matched each other. But the best part was that because of the writing layers in it, there is love as well. End of the day, it's a son and a father. And you could see that in their eyes. So the pain, it's almost like just hug and end it. But they won't, because they have this whole alpha ego stopping them and too much of history, which when you see the show, you'll realize that just came out. So for us, literally had to put these two lions in a cage together and close the doors and record.
Rana, what do you think is going to be the response of your family when they see this? Like the larger family.
So Venki was pretty clear. He's like, it's a good show, but I don't think the family should see it. Like, he was straight. So the funny thing is, the first day, both of us were shooting together, which was that 18th day.
Yeah.
So my entire house was like, okay, now what's happening on set and stuff like that. And this was the scene, that the candle up your ass kind of scene. And
You just make it sound so much more elegant.
That's why they are the actors.
So my dad called me during dinner break. He said, how's it going? What's going on? I just sent him the scene paper. And he read it and he's like, what do you guys up to? And it's family saying, it's family? Okay, no. So it was pretty fun.
Your father
and
is...
reaction, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea of the reaction, actually. This is the first time I have no idea of how family is going to react, for sure. But I know the audience will really have fun, because you've never seen a family this dysfunctional and this crazy, for sure. And it's a set of the most complex people that still are trying to put stuff together. You know what I'm saying? There's an endearing nature about all of them, but they're just mad with the world that they operate in.
Your father is such a...
I don't think he's going to watch the show.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
can't
so.
imagine.
He saw a little bit of Ray Donovan. He said, that's it. This is it. No, I'm not doing this. So.
The two of you have also, of course, made features. But your success has come in long-form storytelling. Karan, you've been there from day one. Inside Edge, folks, Karan Anshuman has directed Inside Edge, the first Indian original series. So you were literally there when this revolution started. What do you both think is the hook for keeping audiences there over 7 episodes, 8 episodes? How this sort of science, the science of your Excel sheet, but also the science of every episode ends with the cliffhanger. How did you guys kind of figure this out? I'm assuming you both learned on the job. There was, there was nothing to teach you that.
Yeah, I mean, see, it's... I know it felt like a reinvention of the wheel, but we have been watching great series coming out of Hollywood for a long time. I especially have been a huge fan of or premium dramas. Since they kind of started, I got really hooked onto series like Lost and Prison Break and some of the older ones that were on network TV. And I knew like somewhere that is the kind of storytelling I want to do, because I just felt like films had gotten to a point where they've become very easy to sort of draft out and predict, and you know exactly what's going to happen. There's only so much time so you can spend focus on just the main protagonist, and the others are not getting enough screen time. So, and you had to just hit those, the whole hero's journey kind of arc. So all those rules went out the window with this, and you had so much more time to explore characters, and you didn't even have to end them in a certain way, because there's always a second season that is up for grabs. So for me, I think the idea, it was very exciting. Yes, there is a bit of a craft involved, but there's also so much more liberation in terms of what you can do with the characters and the ups and downs, and you guys will find something really surprising, especially in this series in Rana Naidu, because things just turn around and take a turn like that will blindside you in a way, and you will not see it coming. And even with this, like I think the writers have tried to reinvent what is the expectation, especially if it's called Rana Naidu, and where's Rana Naidu as a character heading. That expectation that you set up and how you sort of subvert it. There are things that Rana Naidu does that you will not forgive him for example. And there is no comeuppance. There is no price for him to pay for it. So this is unusual. And only a series can allow you something like this.
Yeah. The cricket bat is used, I'm assuming.
So I began writing at an era where at times if you were lucky, you got to write some originals, which were hits, or you had misses, which were at times remakes, or sometimes they worked. So between a Zameen and a Qayamat, one was original, one was a remake, unofficial. But yeah, I've done all kinds of genres. But with OTT, one of the first things I did was Hasmukh on Netflix, incidentally. And yeah, it was cutting teeth. It was learning a craft which I really admired, whether it was American television with Lost and stuff, or British television, which I think literally set the ground rules for long format writing much earlier, which shows like Prime Suspect and stuff like that, right? So they've been masters at it. And finally, I think you had the freedom, because both films and long format shows are very tough to write, and they're different mediums. That's a different structure. There's a different structure. But here, you're not bound by the conventional market rules, which you may or may not understand, because they change every week, Friday to Friday. Where Patna mein wo gaana chalega, to yahan tum item dal do, interval ke baad ek barbad scene dalo, because audiences are still walking with their popcorns, and I have heard terms like this script is dry, and I thought, should I put water in it? Till I realized it needs some masala. I mean, those terms, right? So that is one language. Here the language is more about, let's get into characters, not just one, multiple story arcs. And you could explore grey. And grey is an area which I understand. I don't understand binaries like black and white. Because a good person can do bad things, a bad person can do good things. And the nature of OTT is such where you can explore and person dynamics. And Rana Naidu is a show where everybody surprises you at every turn. There is nobody who's good. There is nobody who's bad. You make your choices along with them. And at times there is no redemption. They don't seek redemption. And at times there is comeuppance which comes out of the blue. So it's that world which allows that freedom. And I guess that allows creators today to explore true storytelling and hopefully succeed, I guess, which is...
Let's get in one more grey person. Surveen Chawla, please, can we have you on stage? So sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
I am so sorry, guys.
You're doing interviews, it's all good.
We have been entertained.
We have been abusing on stage, basically, sir.
Look at the things you have to do to make up for you.
Where to distract them.
Netflix!
So, you're the leading lady in a show frontlined by two men, directed by two men. How did you make sure you didn't get lost in this sea of testosterone?
I think I got in the feminine energy on set because these guys were deprived of. That question goes to them, not to me. But yeah, I mean, being on that set, and honestly, I'm very, very comfortable with more male energy around me than female energy around me. I think it's far more easier on me. It's smoother. It's kind of hassle-free. I know I'm a feminist and I say that, but well, I mean, that's the truth. It comes with lesser baggage. Sometimes I also carry that myself, and these boys have to answer.
No, it is a bit of a
But-
boy show. You're right. It
It is a boy show.
Yeah,
But
it is.
here's the
It
thing.
is.
I think technically using a male term, but still, fact is Surveen personally and a character is more ballsy than 10 men put together. So you just got to see the show.
Yeah, I think so because we don't like. At least I try my best to write female characters with a lot of agency, and especially in worlds that are dominated, like say cricket, or in a world like Mirzapur in the first season. I think we were very conscious of how we were approaching female characters in a sea of testosterone, as you put it. And I think that was no different for Rana, and I feel the women of Rana are pretty strong in their own right, and in a bit of a boy show, it's even more impactful when you have any kind of agency that sort of
Absolutely.
makes change.
I think to add to that, I don't remember, I must have said this to someone this morning itself, that I feel like, so somebody was speaking to me about, was there at any given point in time in your career or your professional journey, did you ever feel that probably you didn't get your due? And somebody asked me that question. And I was like, yes, sometime back, yes, definitely, most definitely. But I feel I have to thank, of course, alongside the women who support you, who are standing always right behind you, backing you, whether it's your writers, your directors, your technical team, the people behind on set. But it's men like these who actually have the courage to showcase their women as they are, flawed, unapologetic, brash, and so be it. But I think I have to kudos to them for bringing about their change in putting forward their women like Naina. So I think these guys are behind making characters like Naina.
Speaking of strong women, Suparn, would it be permitted to ask you, Khandala mein kya hua tha, ya Lonavala mein kya hua
So
tha?
my answer to that is this. Nobody asked Manoj what happened with Gulpanang in Kashmir. But they will ask a woman what happened in Khandala. Why? Why is a woman more answerable than a
So
man?
this is on us.
Yes. Stop asking. It's her life. She chose it. She lives it. And it's her decision. Why does anybody need to do anything? Only because a woman is involved. My thing is men are never asked. In fact, it's a very interesting discussion I was having recently, on something that I'm working on, where a market research had come to me where a lot of people from interiors of India didn't have a problem with their husband cheating, which is a huge plot point at times. And they're like, yeah, okay, but he came back to the woman. And I'm like, what? It's a perception thing. So if a man does it, bheg gaya, aa jayega. A woman does it, there's hell to pay. Why? Why have double standards? If it's good for the men, it's good for the women. Why can't they allow it? So my honest answer to that always has been this. Nobody needs to know. It's Suchi's life. Let it be hers and hers alone.
Season 3 में बता रहे हो कि नहीं?
If I tell you, I have to kill you.
Okay, before we open this up to the audience, I want each one of you to answer this. If you had a Rana Naidu in your life, what would you have him take care of? I'm assuming none of you are doing some of the really awful things we see people do in the show. But like, what's a pressing problem that you would have Rana deal with?
Wow.
Be my nanny. Be my nanny to take care of.
I would love that. Rana with the bat as the
Exactly.
Baby in one hand,
Baby in one hand, bat in one hand.
Baby cries, stop.
So I can be on more sets like Rana Naidu.
Love it, love it. See, we've got a problem for you to solve when you kind of become a gentler human being.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Rana, what would you solve?
What would I solve? I am Rana, so I guess whatever problem I have to solve it myself.
Currently in your life, what would you apply this character to?
Would I apply this to? See, the thing is, in forums like these, you can't say illegal things. So we'll pass.
Okay.
Safer.
Much safer. Correct?
No, I'll be booted out of any. I won't even say where. So, just you get a sense of it. You know what it is.
Okay, clearly you're all leading very interesting lives. Apart from you and me, Surveen.
Clearly.
Like nanny is the biggest problem.
Absolutely.
While the men are like, we can't talk about this. Suparn, आपकी life में कुछ है?
I would like to basically make Rana give me 48 hours in a day. Because 24 hours falls short.
That's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Okay.
That's
Can
a
you
good
fix
one.
that for him?
Yeah, I'll just keep swapping him to different countries and time zones. Just give him a show.
Yeah, I
swap
tried
his
that.
time.
That's only 16 hours of difference, trust me.
Oh, that's only 6.
Yeah,
Oh, you
I'm
tried.
still missing 8, yeah.
We'll figure it
Or
out.
find a team that probably is willing to work around the clock.
Yeah, we just find 3, 4 shifts. Like in
Right?
the old days, no, there's one guy
Yeah.
just.
Like I love the character in Contact, the guy who lives in air always. Remember in space because of the disease he has. Because and anyway, oh, you haven't seen Contact, Jodie first of all?
Yeah.
It's
I
brilliant.
haven't.
You must. And the fact is, this time moves differently in space, which is the reason I have tattoos with a dragon and 2 clocks. Because time moves differently for lovers. It's fast when you're together. It's slow when you're away.
You've seen Interstellar. No?
Yeah.
Same.
Same.
You have to find
On
this one
that,
and
on that happy note, let's get in questions. You guys have to pull out names and call them out, and then they're going to
right.
ask.
Madhu Smita.
My question is to you, Surveen.
Yes.
So you have chosen a lot of unconventional roles in the past. So what is it that exactly inspires you to take up the roles that you do?
If I had them any way more conventional than what I do, I feel like I'd be bored. I'd not get up with the same drive that I do today, even though they're fewer than what I'd like them to be, because not because I don't want to work that much more, but because those are the kind of lucrative offers that have come to me. I feel like I can never kind of master the art of fitting into one box every single time I play a part. And what I search in every part is for me to kind of differently challenge myself, even try to kind of experiment a bit, which does not happen very often. For example, my last one, which was Decoupled, was for me a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you, from what I'd done, and that kind of really, really excited me. And then from there to Naina, who's complex and layered and, fighting her own battles within the storms of this dysfunctional family that she's a part of. I feel like that's the switch that kind of gets me excited and ready to roar and ready to rumble for my next one.
You know, one of my favorite pieces of yours, Surveen, is the short film Churi.
Oh, with Anurag.
If you guys, Anurag Kashyap, Tiska Chopra, if you guys haven't seen it, find it on YouTube. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Rana?
So it's Sukanya Gurav.
So my question is for you, Rana. I wanted to know, has playing a violent character ever affected you in any way?
Playing a violin.
Yeah, violent character.
Violence is 2 things. Violence, one is an emotion, the second is a physical action. The emotion will linger with you based on whatever you're doing. You're violent in that show or that film for a certain reason. There'll be things that will subconsciously be in you and govern your life for that period of time, but you'll just understand it much later, what that effect had been. The physical aspect of it, of action in general, is something that I really enjoy. The fact that that's the same thing that I used to do when I was 10 years old and I still do it now, it just makes me feel amazing. So, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Super.
Navya Reddy.
My question is for Rana sir. Which movie of yours has really changed you as an actor or as a person in real life?
See, I think a sum of who I am is part of the films that I've played. I think they've taught me more than anything else in terms of life, because just all the characters have been so varied and taught me different worlds, whether I know about the wild, whether I know about Naxalism in India, whether I know about wars and mythology. Everything is just through movies and stuff that I played. So I think it's the other way around. I think I am who I am as part of all of those characters that you see.
I'll just get both of them.
Ashma Sharma.
Hello everyone. So my question is for Karan. So Karan, your shows, they all have had such a significant impact in Indian pop culture. So I wanted to know if there's any conscious effort that goes into it to put such moments in the show.
Not at all. And the moment anyone starts doing that, it's not going to have any cultural impact of any kind, because you cannot at all predict things. Like, look at your memes, for Christ's sakes, okay? What random things turn into memes, guys? Like, it's just silly. Like, I cannot for the life of me decode that. So you have to just do stuff that you know best, or to the best of your abilities, just, be able to translate your ideas that you have in your head into something that, comes on screen eventually, and try and stick to your guns, and, not have too many outside influences come in and mar that vision that you have. So I think anyone who sticks to their guns will, I don't know, I mean, it's a hit or miss, of course, but it's all completely random. I keep looking at those memes, man, like, what are those, like, dogs?
And?
Faisal Farooq.
My question for Rana Daggubati. What is the best advice your uncle Venkatesh Daggubati has given you about acting?
What's the best advice about acting? It's funny, he never gave advice about acting ever in his life. But he taught me a lot of ways to live. The top of all of it being, he taught me that being famous is a job, and you got to treat it like a job. You got to be famous for a certain point of time, and that's a job. And you come back, and you're the guy you were. That's probably the first thing that I learned from him. He's an extremely spiritual person. So when I was talking to him, I remember when I was very, very young, about how I used to just do a lot of things when I was young. I used to do visual effects. I used to try to do miniature shoots, like just try to do everything. And then he always said something. He said, if you fail at something, don't attach yourself too much to it. He said, you got to take the path. It's called the royal middle path, whether it's the Rama Krishna way of life. They fought wars, but they were detached from what that victory was or what that defeat was. So he spiritually taught me a lot in terms of how I lead my life today. But I guess acting came in the scheme of things.
How lovely. I love the idea that being famous is a job.
Yeah, super.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
And he always treated it that way. He's more normal than anybody else can be. I just feel like I'm spoiled with a lot of things in this world every time I see him. But
You, as a fixer, you need to spread this message in this town so
It's
that
so
people
important.
get that.
So
and
important.
Turn off the switch when they have to and turn it on when they have to. It's such a simple philosophy.
So I remember this is somebody, I don't know, it's many years ago. There was a film called Premichkundam Rao of his. It's a Telugu film, very, very successful. And that was the first time they were doing these. We did a tour, which was called a victory tour, in a place called Kurnool. And I just saw people till as long as eyes could see. Like, that's it. Just people flooded everywhere. And the three of me, my dad, and my uncle, all three of us drove back to Hyderabad that night. We were having dinner, and he said something which I still remember even now. He said, this is it. After that, let's start. This is enough of pushing. Let's start just treating this like a job. Saying, because otherwise, we'll just keep wanting this over and over again. And if it doesn't come, we'll start feeling uneasy and stuff. But this is it. We got it. So just now, and that was an amazing way he changed his life and the way he lives with his family and all of that. I think it's pretty amazing how one can be so grounded. It's awesome.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. And thank you to all of you guys. Team Rana Naidu.